I'm Shannon Skinner, and welcome to Extraordinary Women TV. Now, this is a show where you meet women who have the courage to listen to their hearts, take inspired action, and make a difference. My guest today is all that and more. Now, on today's show, we'll be talking about finding your authentic beauty, and here to speak about it is Jennifer Ettinger. She is the founder of Fit Your Style, which is a lifestyle boutique that helps women find their inner beauty. You'll meet her in a moment. Now, later in the interview, I'll have my regular Good to Know Minute when I ask my guests for their top success tip. You'll hear Jennifer's. Well, Jennifer Ettinger, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Shannon.
Oh, it's so nice having you here. Now, in addition to being the founder of Fit Your Style, you are a TV host, you are an author and a speaker, you wear a lot of different hats. You're a busy woman.
I love to be full with my agenda, is how I like to say it. I think busy's overused, so I just like to say I'm just really active in my business.
Love it. Now, you're very active now, but there was a time in your life, and a big part of your story is you had something called chronic fatigue syndrome.
Yes.
And there are many people out there who have it, been diagnosed with it. But this was a very, it really was something that had hit you very hard. Let's talk about that. What was life like then? And because that's been a big part of your story to where you are today.
Yes. So the biggest compliment I received today is that people say, you're so full of energy, I don't know how you do it. And I have to giggle because I think I'm making up for so much lost time. So in the 90s, I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. And it really just took me right off my feet. I was bedridden, I was collecting health disability checks. I would call my husband, Shannon, and say, I got out of the bed today and took a shower. So my life just was crippling. And I went from a life in New York City where I had such a fulfilled, abundant life to being bedridden. And I couldn't even look myself in the mirror because I just didn't understand what happened, who that was looking back. And I really say that I was a broken spirit at that time. So I was on a lot of medication. I would like to say, a guinea person for the protocol for chronic fatigue, and found that it just wasn't working for me. I wasn't feeling good, and if anything, I was feeling worse. So I decided to take myself off of all my medication, and when I was able to, my husband and I would go to the local bookstores, and I would research everything I could find on chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. And what was interesting is that the books would share healthy eating, exercise, meditation, and supplementation. Every single book would say this if they were in the holistic method. So I decided this is what I needed to do. But until then, I was at that fork in the road. And I realized I was either going to become the illness, and that's who I was going to be for the rest of my life, or I was going to fight to get my life back.
So what is chronic fatigue?
It actually is an autoimmune disorder, and my whole body was like flu-like symptoms, and I was swollen lymph nodes everywhere. So underneath my arm was the size of probably like a half of a baseball, where I would have to hold my lymph nodes. They were so swollen and so painful, and you're exhausted all the time. You're mentally foggy, you're not clear about anything at all, and you're tired. You're constantly tired. And I want to make it clear, it's not, in many cases, they'll screen you for depression. I was not clinically depressed. So back in the 90s when I had this, it was still kind of fuzzy where, oh, she just is depressed or has issues and she just needs attention. Not the case at all. That there really is a clear, defined clinical response now for chronic fatigue syndrome.
So you really turn it around and you became healthy?
Yes.
Wasn't overnight?
No. I was working out only 2 minutes a day. That's all I could afford to do. I would be exhausted after that.
You mean because you were too tired?
I was so tired.
Right.
But I knew, every book kept telling me, you got to push through the storm to get to the other side. So I would listen to my body and do what I could feel like I could do. And that 2 minutes led on, led on, led on. And within a year, I was doing the Billy Banks Taibo kickboxing, burning 800 calories in an hour.
So you went from chronic fatigue to becoming a fitness expert.
Yes.
And then how does that connect with art and
fashion? So we moved from, I am Canadian American, so I left New York City and I moved to Toronto. And from there, my husband's company moved us back to the US, to a small town in Michigan. And I always joke that, say, when Frank Sinatra says New York, New York, you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, not the case. So I had to reinvent myself once again. And so I laid out everything that I loved and what I feel passionate about, and that's my education. That was my love for a healthy lifestyle. And I decided to become a certified personal trainer and merge it with my background in fashion styling. And my love of art history is where the goddesses come in. And I created a program, number one, the company's Fit Your Style,
Right.
and a program called Find Your Inner Goddess.
Ah, so there's the connection.
It was a total fluke. And what's important to know too is that I hated, prior to getting sick, exercise. I was a chronic dieter. I looked for every quick fix possible, whether it was laxatives, diet pills, box diets. I took bowling and gym class because I didn't want to move my body. So I was someone who never ever enjoyed moving my body because I didn't feel comfortable with the body I had at the time.
So let's just talk about your body image at that time. I mean, because this is something you do now, you work with women. I mean,
Yes.
How did you feel about your body? And let's talk about that journey that you went through with your own image.
Well, I think that whatever we fall into and our passions are really a reflection of what our own life experiences have been, if that makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
So from that, I knew that I had an issue with my body image. And here I am working with mannequins and people, styling them as part of my career. So I needed to figure out how to get rid of that ugliness that I felt because it wasn't a real fact. It was a false truth that I had about myself. So looking into really understanding how to work out the body for my body shape, understanding truly how to dress for my own shape. So that way I felt confident and comfortable with who I was and who I was presenting to the world. And now from that, I would find my clients coming to me saying, I hate my hips, I hate my arms, I can't show my stomach. And woman to woman, we know how heartbreaking that is when you're hiding behind something that you feel so trapped in, especially when it's part of your body. So I took my own experiences and then created a program to help women become body confidence beautiful.
We're just going to go to the Good to Know Minute, and
Sure.
that's when I ask my guests for their top success tip. And Jennifer, I know you've got a great one.
Yes, so it's body awareness leads to body confidence, which resonates a body beautiful. So if we break that down, when you become aware of what you love about your body, you become aware of what you don't like for your body, you work on those things, you start to become confident internally and externally with who you are, which then shows that goddess glow, that radiance that you've become body confidence beautiful.
So now let's just talk a little bit more in detail about Fit Your Style. And how do you work with women? I mean, how do you help them?
So women will come to me and we'll do some sort of one-on-one consultation to find out really what area they want to begin with. Many times they'll come for one area, but then it will become all-encompassing, that we will work from fitness to image to healthy eating to the aesthetics actually of the makeup and the appearance. But my personal belief system is that it starts with the mindset. So I have to see if the client is actually in a phase of interest or are they in a phase of action to take a change to their lives. Lots of times I call it sitting in the chair in my studio. It's a pink chair, and I call it from the chair in my blog. And lots of times they're so interested, Shannon, in having a better image or a better body, but they're not willing to do the work that it takes to get there.
So is it laziness, or is it just other priorities?
I think it's a little bit of, there are many excuses being used,
Right.
such as
But they are excuses.
much. So
Right.
yeah, absolutely. So
Yeah.
saying I'm too busy, I have children, I have a very busy career, and that's why I don't like that word busy, because
It's an excuse.
it's an excuse.
Yeah.
So we'll work through that and we'll break down what those barriers are, and then we'll put the one area that's really resonating with her that she wants to work on. So if it's exercise, and we'll create little stepping stones of habits for her to start on, small, because women want instant gratification and we want it now, But what happens is they'll burn out and plateau. They'll be done. So if we start small with little exercises or little habit changes, they start to feel empowered, we get to the next stepping stone. And soon you'll look back and go, wow, I've paved my journey to the goal that I wanted to receive. So it's very much in the mindset first before we can translate anything through the body.
Now, you talked a little bit about, the goddess is important to you,
Yes.
and you use different goddess figures in the work, in
Yes.
your work. And in fact, that it's a big role in your book.
Yes. So I felt that as a former pear myself, that's not feel good. You don't look in the mirror and go, oh, good morning, you got it, or you beautiful pear, or an apple. I felt that to my own self, it was very defeating.
And you're talking about body shape.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
You felt defeated. That does not a feel good. But if you look in the mirror in the morning and say, good morning, you goddess you feel a little bit more empowered. So I took the traditional body shapes that are out there. So we have the former rectangle, we have the former hourglass, the pear, the former apple, and the former inverted triangle. And we created goddess shapes with a number attached. And we talk about in the book and in the program, what's your goddess greatness, the assets that you have that are so beautiful with that body shape. And then for those areas of concern that relate to that body shape, how can we work with it in body, beauty, mind, and spirit? So we'll teach them little exercises so they start to feel body confidence beautiful.
So your book, Find Your Inner Goddess, this is a relatively new book.
Yes, so it actually debuted on Amazon as a #1 bestseller, which I'm very excited to share.
What's it about? Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a 12-week journey program called Find Your Inner Goddess for women to learn what body shape they are, how to work out for that body shape, how to dress for that shape, beauty boosting foods, goddess affirmations because the mindset's so important, recipes as well, and at the end they graduate with a certificate that they've found their inner goddess.
Jennifer, what is the biggest obstacle you find, or the biggest problem that women have with trying to find their own authentic inner beauty? What's really true for them?
Well, it's interesting that you are bringing this up because there's actually been a study completed on this, and one would think that it is the media that is causing the distress, that we're constantly looking at these incredible models that are such a small percentage of the body shapes that are out there in the world, or the airbrushing that's happening. But it's actually our mentors in our lives that actually are instilling our belief systems. So whether it's your mother or your aunt or a caregiver or a sister, if you're constantly hearing that person say, I'm fat, I'm never going to change, or they go on one diet and then they yo-yo. When we were younger, that really played a major role in how we would see our own bodies, which is pretty fascinating to me.
Well, it is fascinating. So it's not really, the media plays into it.
It's a part of it, but it really comes with our upbringing and what we were embraced on. Now, granted, with saying that, I mean, my mother was great. She never had a lot of the negatives, so it doesn't fall within every category. But generally speaking, from the study that they did, it shows that it really is the caregivers. And even with that, you have to be careful that you're not an extremist, that you're not over-exercising or over-dieting, because that's just as dangerous for the next generation coming up as being on the sofa all the time. You've got to find that harmony in between about just a healthy lifestyle.
You have a strong desire to help women. And what is it within you that is driving you?
I think, again, it comes back to I've been there, and I know what it feels like when you feel trapped with being so uncomfortable with who you are. And it goes back to losing that time when I was bedridden, staring at the ceiling tiles going, oh my goodness, what has happened to my life? And that for women, I'm a pioneer of wanting them just to love who they are and get past all of that, because lots of it is just such mental traps that we can overcome that. So that's my mantra, is that when I have a woman that will come to me and they'll cry actually when we see success and they can't believe that they're down 2 clothing sizes and they feel sexy and vibrant and swishing their hair around and feeling just so excited, that is the biggest payoff for me that I can receive. And then I know that I've served them well and I've done my job as a mentor.
Can you give us an idea a woman whose life has transformed?
I do. I have a woman that works out with me twice a week, and she felt, again, trapped in her body, very uncomfortable with the body that she had. Lots of times women have external goals of going on vacation or something like that, and she just sent me an email saying, I'm so broken. I don't know who I am anymore. I'm not happy. My husband sees that I'm not happy. I don't know what to do. So we put together a plan. She would come see me twice a week, and we did some other things as well. And I got the email saying, oh my goodness, I'm back to the body I desired and more. I'm ready for my trip. I feel so sexy. My husband loves it. I love it. I've learned new food habits. I feel so good.
Then I just have one more question for
Sure.
you, Jennifer. The W Project.
Yes, it's a project for the Women's Center of York Region. And what's so exciting about that is that they are a center that really works with women to empower them and take them from a situation that is a negative into becoming the woman that they were meant to be. And so with the W Project, we've had some incredible, inspiring women on board that together we can, as a community, create change. And that's powerful. It just takes one little step, again, very similar to what a woman would do, but one step within the community of changing the life for somebody else. It's a trickle-down effect, which is very exciting. And it's all about coming together, having awareness that we can make a change if we are willing and open to doing so.
Well, Jennifer, I thank you for coming on the show today and sharing your story. We've run out of time, but I wish you all the best with your book and your speaking and your show and everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me, Shannon.